Hi, Tim Roye for Warriors.com. We're joined by Chris Ballard of Sports Illustrated, SI.com, and always fun to talk some basketball with you because I know you're an aficionado, but you're here at practice with the Warriors, and it's an exciting time to be here, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I grew up in the Bay Area, so it's unusual to have expectations that people were trying to lower when you come to Warriors training camp. Remarkable. This is the first day here for me, but seeing no significant injuries other than Azili, and sensing the optimism and hearing it not just from people who are paid to be optimistic, but from everybody. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that because there are expectations for this team. The team did so well last year and had a great playoff run. But there's also the point now that teams will be ready for them. You know, they won't be the hunter per se. They may be the hunted.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be interesting the first couple of weeks especially, right? And you see the team figure out rotations, because if you're coming in with Harrison and Klay and Iguodala, and they're trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to deploy these guys? Who's going to be our first unit, our second unit? So in a sense, Bogut coming back, being more of the offense, the Warriors will be figuring out their own chemistry, I'm guessing, the first couple of weeks. At the same time, the other teams are like, okay, now this is a team we got to beat. This is a big game. Probably more fans for those games. I think Steph Curry and his playoff run will have created a buzz, especially on the road. And it's going to be probably exactly what they need. Come out and realize more playoff-type atmosphere almost every time we play.
And of course, Steph in the backcourt with Klay Thompson, what an unusual pairing it is in this sense. They're both tremendous shooters. They both can score, but they're also both products of an NBA family, and I think that helps them in the grind and in the adjustment to the league.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to them about that. In one sense, it's such a huge advantage to grow up around the game like that, to grow up with the means, the coaching, the role models, all those kind of things. At the same time, it's a disadvantage, right? You know, you go through a high school, I'm sure, being yelled at, you know, daddy's boy, that kind of stuff. I imagine once you get here and you are successful, having that to fall back on, having that confidence, I think when you have parents like that, it's sort of instilled in you. There's no way to fake that. And both those guys, from what I can tell, have it. I think Klay's developing it more a little bit. I think Steph has some kind of innate thing that only a few of the really top players have. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Andre Iguodala, because he's the big name of the signings, but I think the Warriors have done a great job in terms of adding pieces that will help them in their rotations. But what impact do you see with Andre here?
Well, yeah, theoretically he's the Jarrett Jack role, right? But he's such a better defender than Jarrett, so giving you the ability to guard wings like that. Jarrett hit some huge shots last year, but he made some bad decisions. I think probably Iguodala is less likely to make those bad decisions. On the other hand, probably less likely to hit some of those big shots. So that you're asking probably Klay to create a little more, maybe Harrison in those situations. Steph is a tremendous scorer, but that's not his forte, those late game shots. Expecting him to do that, maybe he develops that this year. So I think that's where we'll see how Iguodala fits in. Everywhere else, it's a plus. He's a great rebounder, great defender, everything I've heard about him, great teammate. So I can't imagine that not working well.
Did you, in any scenario that you could put together for the Warriors starting at the beginning of last year, did you see this coming together so quickly?
No. I think anybody who did would be lying, right? Maybe Mark Jackson said he did. I'm sure he did, actually, considering he guaranteed the playoffs before his first year. It's so many factors coming together there, Steph being healthy, all that. Bogut is going to be fascinating this year. You know, seeing him at his best when he was in his prime a few years ago, just had a complete skill set, a very underrated passer. So what are the expectations now? What are the realistic expectations now? That's what I'd love to know.
Andrew Bogut, of course, an all-NBA player when playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Warriors right now are right in the middle of the mix for the Western Conference, but the West, as always, it's deep in good teams. What about the rest of the top teams in the West? How do you see them fitting in?
Well, it'd be interesting, you look at the Thunder, have they gotten appreciably better, or is that contingent upon how much Westbrook and Durant continue to evolve? But they're already so complete as players, at least within the relative to the rest of the NBA. So I'm not sure the Thunder, they're still very good, obviously, and the Spurs are going to be quite good again, as they are every year. I'll be curious to see losing Budenholzer and Brett Brown when your whole organization is built on culture and stability. how easy is it to replace that? And you're relying more on Kawhi Leonard this year. I think they're a little bit of a question mark as well. So, theoretically, you start stacking the other teams, the Warriors could be a 3 or a 4 seed.
How about Houston?
I'll be curious. That just doesn't look on paper like something that's going to work. I don't see Harden and Howard as an offensive match. I think Parsons is a glue guy for that team that'll be huge, and if he can become someone who makes Dwight feel comfortable, both defensively and offensively, that could work. I think McHale probably helps there, but I can't imagine one season those guys gelling well enough to be a contender. I know, if you look at sort of the odds to win the NBA, I think their odds are better than a lot of other teams that I might place above that. And Denver, it'll be interesting as well. They're sort of retooling a little bit there. After last season, if they'd stayed the same, I would have said that team's going to be more and more dangerous. Now I'm not sure.
Chris, you enjoy not only covering the NBA, but watching the NBA?
Oh, yeah. I hopefully all of us who do this for a living enjoy watching it. I like playing basketball. I like watching it. I like talking about it. Definitely, to have a team that you've watched your whole life, and even if you're covering them dispassionately, when they're good, it's so much more fun to cover them. Yeah.
No doubt about that. Oracle's going to be a place to be this year in the 2013-2014 campaign. Chris Ballard of SI.com, Sports Illustrated. Thanks so much, as always, for the conversation.
Thank you, guys.
We'll continue with more coverage right here at Warriors.com.